Welcome to This Explainer, brought to you by the Hills Observer. They're a voluntary organization dedicated to making sure citizens like you are fully aware of what's happening right here in the city. Now, we're skipping the basic civics lesson today. You already know how a council operates. Let's just dive directly into the most pressing and honestly fascinating decisions to come out of the Village of the Hills August 11th meeting.
Okay, let's kick things off with a very specific number, one that sparks some immediate, heavy debate at the meeting: $3,000. Now, I know that isn't some massive municipal bond, right? But this is everyday taxpayer money, your money, and exactly how it was just spent has become a major focal point.
Here's the deal. That $3,000 was spent by the Parks and Recreation Committee on a recent Tron movie night in the park. The problem is, as the Parks and Rec liaison frankly admitted, attendance was incredibly light because they really struggled to get the word out. They just didn't do enough marketing. Looking at the discussion, it basically looked like this tax-funded event was just for the volunteers and their families. Almost no real residents actually came. This sparked a serious and necessary conversation. Going forward, the city has got to be super diligent in spending money on events like these. We absolutely cannot afford to waste the city's money on poorly promoted events.
So how does local governance adapt when things kind of flop? That brings us to our first major theme, community and parks, and pivoting the budget.
Learning from that movie night misstep, the committee took a hard look at their remaining $6,000 budget. Instead of risking that chunk of change on another last-minute event right before the Big Hill City Limits Festival, they made a really smart pivot. They made the practical decision to invest those funds into tangible park beautification and maintenance. Actual upgrades every resident can see and enjoy. And there is plenty more brewing beyond just the park. The Welcome Commission is actively putting together new resident baskets, and get this, they already have sponsorships locked in. Looking ahead at the calendar, Hill City Limits is coming up super fast on October 25th. Plus, early planning is already underway for a massive milestone. The village is hitting its 30th anniversary of incorporation in May of 2027. Moving right along, let's see how these community standards tie into keeping the village secure. Here's Section 2, Public Safety and Infrastructure. Looking at the July law enforcement stats, we're seeing a remarkably wide range of activity. It's heavily anchored by standard duties, like 44 traffic stops and 27 directed patrols. But, the blotter also includes everything from 8 911 hang-ups to a registered drone operation checking FAA compliance. It's a real mix. Now, what's genuinely fascinating about those 44 traffic stops is the behavioral loop they represent. The deputies explained a very predictable traffic cycle to the council. Basically, a high volume of tickets in 1 month leads directly to 1 or 2 months of highly cautious, safe driving. But eventually, drivers get comfortable, the infractions slowly creep back up, and the whole cycle just repeats itself. Human nature, right? The law enforcement report also took a quick moment to clarify some technical police jargon. Specifically, they defined an EDP, an emotionally disturbed person report. They made it incredibly clear that this classification absolutely does not mean a person is a danger or quote-unquote crazy. Rather, it just denotes someone issuing a very human cry for help. It's a vital reminder of the really complex social role our deputies play every single day. And building perfectly on that human element, the council actually paused their regular business to formally recognize Deputy Gonzalez. He has been a familiar face in the village since 2025. The council praised him not just for enforcing the law, but for his heavy focus on relationship building. In a small community like ours, trusting the face of your local law enforcement literally makes all the difference.
Outside of standard policing, there's a huge push right now to upgrade local emergency resources. The Village of the Hills and Lakeway are actually forming a joint committee with a pretty ambitious goal: securing a dedicated ambulance just for this immediate area, completely bypassing the broader Travis County dispatch. We're also seeing expanded citizen involvement with new CERT volunteer training, that's Community Emergency Response Teams, gearing up for traffic safety. And Lakeway is even providing a fully stocked safety trailer with vests, radios, and generators to help out.
To protect all that physical infrastructure and maintain high standards, the Council unanimously adopted Ordinance 2026-00001. This officially enforces minimum building standards, and it requires certificates of occupancy alongside third-party inspectors. And guys, this has real teeth. It's backed by a hefty penalty of up to $2,000 a day for each violation. No joke.
All right, moving to our final topic, let's look at the financial health and the future leadership of the village in Section 3, budgets, elections, and administration.
If there is one number you take away from the financial report, make it this one. the treasurer delivered some incredibly strong news. 10 months into the fiscal year, the village is projected to end with a massive $200,000 surplus. Wow, expenses are down $100,000 from what they expected, and the overall financial trajectory is looking fantastic.
And the breakdown of that surplus is actually a perfect 50-50 split. Half of it, $100,000, comes from an unspent capital transfer for the LMA Gate project that simply isn't happening this cycle. The other half, that is purely from stellar operating results. General expenses are down, while revenues, especially sales tax, are way up.
Meanwhile, over at the Hearst Creek Municipal Utility District, or the MUD, financial protocols are shifting a bit to match the times. They recently voted to raise their single-signature check threshold from $10,000 all the way up to $25,000. This is really just a practical move designed to streamline daily operations and clear up bottlenecks for standard vendor payments.
In a great example of local entities finally sorting out whose job is whose, the MUD is officially stepping up to take maintenance responsibility for those ambiguous cul-de-sac drainage grates. For the longest time, it was kind of a mystery who actually owned them. But the MUD is going to handle it now, assuming the Property Owners Association gives their final written consent.
So, as we look toward the fall, the administrative calendar is absolutely packed with critical milestones. The candidate filing deadline already closed on August 17th. Next up is a major budget workshop on August 24th, where the council will figure out what to do with that sweet surplus. And all of this leads directly to the biggest milestone of all, Election Day on November 3rd.
That November 3rd election is a massive turnover opportunity for the community. The mayoral seat is on the ballot, alongside 2 at-large city council positions. And separately, the Hearst Creek MUD also has 3 director seats up for grabs. So, a lot of open seats.
From demanding better marketing so we don't waste tax dollars on empty events, to electing the leaders who will manage our 6-figure surpluses, local government touches your life every single day. With budget workshops approaching and major local seats on the ballot, the only question remaining is, how will you step up and engage with your local government this season?